How about Cincinnati beating Iowa State 38-30, a top 15 win for the Bearcats? My question, is Cincinnati this year's Arizona State in the Big 12? Arizona State was picked dead last year in the preseason poll. They end up winning the conference. There was no preseason poll this year in the Big 12, basically because of Arizona State embarrassing everyone last year. So now I'm looking at the Cincinnati team. I didn't think they'd be a top half of the Big 12 kind of a team, but they don't just look like that. They look like a team that could be destined for Big 12 competition. Dare I say, a trip to Arlington when all is said and done. That's what they look like to me after how they played against Iowa State on Saturday in that 38-30 victory. They were up 31-15. Iowa State kind of made it a game in the second half, but you never really felt like Iowa State was going to come back to win that one on Saturday. Cincinnati was better in the trenches. They were bigger. They were tougher. They ran the ball better. They had the better quarterback in this game. They had the better running backs in this game. They had the better coach in this game. I was blown away, and maybe I shouldn't have been because I saw them do what they did last week to KU, but I thought to myself, this is Iowa State. This is a perennial Big 12 contender. That's what Matt Campbell has built the program into. And yeah, they were banged up in the secondary, and they had some issues there. No doubt about it. But you know what? If I was going to look to Cincinnati to win a game of this caliber, I'm sorry, I was going to have to see it to believe it. I have seen Scott Satterfield for 2.5 seasons up until last week basically lose to every team that he was expected to lose to. And while I know he was a slight favorite in this game, I didn't buy it. And I was wrong. And he proved me wrong, and he proved a lot of us wrong. And Cincinnati doesn't just look like a team that's got a little nice story developing here. They look like a Big 12 contender. They were pushing around Iowa State with that offensive line. The defensive line was really stout against Iowa State on Saturday. And that is not something that I expected to see against the Cyclones, who are solid in the trenches. Not amazing, but Iowa State is very solid in the trenches. And you got a Cincinnati team that just jammed them all over the place. And you want to talk about the difference in this game? Cincinnati ran for 7.6 yards a carry. And by the way, that number was well over 8 before those last couple of drives. Iowa State rushed for 4 yards a carry. Evan Pryor is a guy I have been watching carefully since week 1 against Nebraska. And he didn't have a big game, but he had some really nice runs. And I'm like, I like this guy. He's an Ohio State transfer, goes down the road to Cincinnati, and he had himself a game on Saturday, man. Evan Pryor, 10 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11.1 yards per carry for Evan Pryor. You combine that with how Brendan Sorsby is slinging the ball around. Not a huge day through the air, 13-25, 214, 2 touchdowns, but a QBR of 85 plus. And you got an offense that's doing whatever it wants. You have a defense that is keeping a team like Iowa State in relative check. Rocco Beck did not look like himself. He was inconsistent. He was under pressure. And that's a team right there. When you look ahead to what Cincinnati has left, that is a team that's going to enter November in contention to get to a Big 12 championship game. They've got a nice schedule here coming up for Cincinnati. You look at it, UCF at home, at Oklahoma State, home to Baylor. Then you go to the month of November, and it's at Utah. That's a game-changing moment potentially there for Cincinnati going on the road. And you wrap it up with Arizona, BYU, and TCU. Cincinnati fans should absolutely be sitting there with one ranked team technically left on the schedule and saying, why can't we go to Arlington? Now, I know Utah is not a ranked team, but that's going to be a tough game on the road. But technically, only BYU is left on the schedule currently as a ranked team. Cincinnati officially has to be the team that we are not talking enough about in the Big 12 and across college football for that matter. And that was a statement game on Saturday against Iowa State. And that defense, John Haycock, who I love, but John Haycock in that first half didn't have any answer. And his defense was getting pushed around. I know they were down 2 guys in the secondary that got banged up and were out for the game and out for a while, but no excuses. That was so impressive. And it's more about what Cincinnati was able to do in this game. Subscribe, Heartland College Sports. I'm Pete Mundo. We cover the Big 12. Glad you are here, as always, as a part of the show.